Variables is an essential part of programming, and it allows us to store data and perform calculations with it. So to start off, we need to know the different types of variables that we have. So the first one is the integer. It's called int, and how you would define a variable is you would type out what type of variable it is, and then you type out the name of it, so name. So this basically creates a variable called name that is an integer. So if we make this, we set it to, let's say 1, and then we print this out. Right, it will print out 1. But integer, as it's integer is basically a whole number, and you can't have decimals in it. So if we try to have a decimal, let's say 1.5, it will always round down to the lowest integer. So even if we do like 1.9, it will still come out as 1. So basically an integer is a variable, a number that is a whole number. And then you might be wondering, like, how do we do decimal points? There is another variable type called a float. So if we have a float, we can have multiple decimal points. I'm just going to name it A, and then we can test it out. So if we print out 1, you can still have 1, right? But then if we have like a bunch of random numbers, decimal points, it will print that out as well. But however, there is another variable type that is more commonly used. It's called a double. So this is very similar to the float variable, but a double can store up to a larger number. You just know that this is also a number with decimal points. So the next commonly used one is a Boolean. Boolean is basically a true or false. I'm just going to name it C. So you can make it equal to true, or you can make it to a false. It only has 2 states. And another fun thing you can do about it is you can use numbers to replace true or false as well. So let's say if we set a bool equals 1, it will also be equivalent to true. And if you want it to be false, you can just type 0, or you can just type false. Right. So if we print this out, it will just be 0. You see? Okay, so onto the other variables, which are characters. So if we have a character named E, we can set it to like A, and we print out this. It will just be A. A character can only have 1 character, and you can't have like a long thing in it, right? Because now it just says too much characters in a character constant. It doesn't allow you to do that. So if you want to put like multiple letters together, there's a thing called a string. So in a string, make sure to use the double quotation marks. In a string, we can have a string of characters, right? So I'm just going to type random stuff in here. And now, let's say we print this out. It will become the random stuff that we've used. Alright, so now that's basically the basic variables that we would be using in our coding.